Does she need the dress pulled out? The dress.
On behalf of Matt and Mitra, thank you all for coming today. This is a very special day. We're here to celebrate with Matt and Mitra as they join the greatest ceremonial bond we humans have ever invented. And these aren't just regular folks. These two are special. I know I said that at all the weddings I officiate, but I mean it this time. If you know them at all well enough, it's impossible not to love them. These are good people, and we're lucky to know them. Our lives are better for it, and it is so great that they found each other and decided to enrich each other's lives that much more in marriage. Marriage is an interesting thing, and it means bringing together with a vow. And a vow is a promise. So what we're really all here today is to watch a promise being made. We've all made promises before, and no doubt we've all broken them. But today's promise is a promise that can be kept. It's a big one. But when you think of what the marriage promise entails in general, love, honor, support, and all the rest, and when you think of the lives these two share with each other, they already have it. They've got all the love and consideration for each other that already is a beautiful marriage. They've got it. Matt and Mitra, this is the part of the ceremony where I remind you of the seriousness of what you're about to do. So I'd like you to think about this vow that you'll be making shortly. In the old days, say 4,000 years ago, a vow was a sacrifice you made in exchange for a blessing. If you were in trouble, you would make a vow to your God or to sacrifice an animal, a habit, or a service, whatever you found valuable, in exchange for getting you out of trouble. So how does this apply today? You're not in trouble, and you're not trading one sacrifice for one escape. This is a much bigger and more beautiful vow. You're promising to make your two lives better than when they were apart, in exchange for any number of potential sacrifices. And that's a pretty open-ended contract. That's a lot of trust. But you both win on this deal. With today's vow, you'll be saying to each other, stay with me, enjoy life with me, and know that I will choose our relationship over myself whenever those two happen to conflict. If what I desire will harm us, then I will give it up, and that's the deal you're making. Because the us is worth it. I will be happy, and you will be happy. But whenever the us is challenged, I'll give up myself because the us is worth it. And I'll be happy, and you'll be happy. And in exchange for the sacrifice, you get the us. There is something else besides this open-endedness that makes this wedding vow special and beautiful, setting it apart from so many other promises. When you make this vow, you make a promise without knowing exactly what you'll get out of it, down the road, years from now. You don't really know what you're getting except for each other. So here I'd like to read a quote about the wedding vow. What you alone think it ought to be, it's not going to be. And where you alone think you want it to go, it's not going to go. It's going where the two of you and marriage, time, life, history, and the world will take you. You don't know the road, but you have committed your life to the way. What am I reminding you about the marriage vow? It's open-ended, and you don't know exactly what you're going to get, but you'll have each other. Matt and Mitra, I'm about to ask you a series of questions, and when I finish with the whole list, your answer will either be, I will, or no way. And whichever you choose, we'll all be at the open bar tomorrow. Matt, taking all that I have said into account, without knowing exactly where marriage will take you? Are you willing to take the vow of marriage with Mitra? And, being faced with the choice between yourself and the us that is you and Mitra, will you always choose the us? And will you love her and strive to make your lives together full of goodness, love, and respect always?
I will.
Mitra, taking all that I have said into account, without knowing where exactly marriage will take you, are you willing to take the vow of marriage with Matt and, being faced with the choice between yourself and the us that is you and Matt, will you always choose the us? And will you love him and strive to make your lives together full of goodness, love, and respect always? Many of us here today are well aware of the blessings upon us for knowing these two people. You've made our lives better for being in